Now we're going to talk about how businesses are a platform for change. Building a business around a purpose really helps you motivate your employees and helps your customers connect to your brand in a way that's more meaningful than your product and service offerings. So Lauren, if you were CEO of a business, what would you like it to focus on to make sure it's a platform for change?
I would focus on sustainability, on nature, on the planet, on animals, because we only got one planet.
Yeah.
So that would be my focus. And also because for consumers, it's really hard to do it on their own. I try to eat less meat, but when I see spare ribs, I buy them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. So it's also good to do it like from a higher point to help them a bit.
Right. And you know, it's not only up to one company or nonprofits to make a difference in this world. If we join forces, businesses together can really become a platform for change. So we're going to now talk to 3 great leaders who are making a difference on important subjects such as sustainability, education, and equality. But first, we're going to start with an icebreaker.
Yeah, we're going to start with the rapid rounds, everybody. And it's a round to get to know some fun facts about you guys and lady in the studio there in Belgium. Welcome. We've got a live connection with the studio. I'll start with Ruben. Ruben, at Tech Rounds, you train underrepresented groups and help them find a job in IT. My question for you is, would you rather be unable to use search engines or unable to use social media?
Impossible question.
Why?
It's
think it's a
like
very easy
it's
one.
the heart and it's the head. So, I'm a Twitter user, heavy on Twitter. So this is social media.
Everybody's complaining on Twitter all the time.
When you follow the right people, it's also bringing you into paths, into rabbit holes with all kinds of knowledge and inspiration.
Okay.
But
I've never
the thing is,
experienced that.
the meta skill of learning is learning to learn, and therefore you need, the search engine. So I would choose search, from the head, and Twitter from the heart. If you put me on a stand, social media, Twitter.
Good. Well, I'm going to actually ask an icebreaker to our guests in our studio in Belgium, where we have a live connection. So welcome to our guests in Belgium. Martina, I'm going to start with you. You're an executive at Telenet, but on top of that, you also do great things for education with Coder Dojo and the Flemish STEM platform. Would you rather be completely invisible for a day or be able to fly for a day?
Yeah, it's also a difficult question because I would like to be invisible to maybe participate on some decision moments. But if you want to be invisible to hide away, that you always can do, of course. So for fun factor, I would choose this one, to fly.
Okay, what other questions?
Rens, so you've co-founded Bolt Energie, the first energy platform making Belgian energy consumption 100% green. My question for you, would you rather live without the internet or without heating?
Well, that's for me actually a pretty easy question.
Yeah.
I would rather live without heating. I mean, I can handle the cold and you can buy clothes, so pretty easy question, to be honest. Not being connected, that would be kind of hard nowadays for me. Yeah.
Now we're going to dig deeper into how you can elevate business as a platform for change by asking each one of you to share 3 things per question about your purpose-driven transformation journey.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
where should we start?
Ruben, I start with you. We often read headlines in the news talking about the growing gap for talent in IT. You've actually founded Tech Grounds to claim the opposite. In what 3 ways are you actually breaking this myth?
Good question. So, first of all, it's about a mindset. Like, we think there is an abundance of talent, hidden talent, all around communities, places, cities, throughout the Netherlands. So what we should do, I think, as employers, as tech companies, is to reach out, to go into these neighborhoods. And there we have the talent. I give you one story of Rowenda. She was a ground stewardess, unemployed, seeking for a new career perspective. And then she landed on the opportunity of Tech Rounds, educated herself in 4 months, and then started her career as a cloud engineer. Wow. And a year prior to that decision to go into IT, she was never considering herself to become a junior IT professional. So I think it's about hidden talent, to find hidden talent. And this is a mental model or a mindset from out of the employers, but also from the employees, talent to see themselves in a new career. One more thing I want to add is, I think the challenge we have as employers to find a solution to the scarcity, and we can do that in the following way: to be active earlier when it comes to people being educated. So as employers, join the educational system and to team up with the people that are being educated. Then secondly, when they are trying to find a job, the people that are being educated or reskilled, not only ask for a CV, not only ask about the background, but really make a connection with talent, and seek into what are the abilities. And then thirdly, when they have the first period in their IT career, this is the most difficult period, like the first 6 months or months. You have to find yourself in a new setting, to find yourself, how to be active. And employers there can play a role in making that a journey that is working for the employee and that is more productive. So what we see now, we are a movement. We have now over 60 partners that say, okay, we will work on having no scarcity in IT talent, to work together to find the hidden talent and bring them into the labor market.
But you represent it a bit as if anyone could work in IT with an education of 4 months. How do you know somebody's got hidden talent?
Yeah, that's a good question. So what we do, obviously, we have this selection process where we invite people without any obstacle. Like, the education is for free for them. They don't need to have any background. But then we figure out, do they have motivation? And do they have some sort of a skill for peer learning and self-directed learning? That we do in bringing them in 1 week into a classroom and doing all kinds of coding activities, Salesforce activities, cloud engineering activities. And after that week, we see, hey, these people are really motivated. They have some sort of hidden skills. These people need to find themselves another career.
Yeah.
And then we move forward and bring them into the educational system of tech rounds.
But is it only about motivation, or your brain has to be suitable, has to suit the IT as well,
In a
right?
way it is, but the thing is, when it comes to IT, you have tech support. There you need to have troubleshooting skills. This is one area. You have front-end developers. There you have more the design skills. Then you have back-end, more the problem-solving, puzzling skills. So, and this is only 3 roles, but you have tens of and dozens of roles within IT, and we are sure that each and every person has some sort of a background, soft skills and hard skills that already are connected to these roles. Right. It's a matter of finding those hidden talent and finding IT roles that you have never heard about.
Yeah.
With tech rounds, we say we need more diversity.
Yeah.
So in our classroom, there is 50% women, 50% men.
Great. Well, I think we touched upon a lot of subjects on that answer that we could dive deeper into. But I'm going to now go over to Martina in our studio in Belgium for the next question. So Martina, continuing on the topic of education, you founded Coderdojo over 8 years ago and been a member at STEM since then to drive change and help close the skills gap. Looking back, what are the 3 achievements you're most proud of?
So let me first explain what Coderdojo is all about. So when in 2012, when I was elected ICT Woman of the Year, I decided to be an ambassador to school and youngsters to inspire them for actually this digital world. All my career, I was suffering to find talent, and I thought, now I can go out and preach actually the opportunities in the digital world. And what I discovered, especially in those days in high school, that there was an aversion against digital, IT mainly, and that if I went to high schools, actually only so men. And in master degrees, computer sciences is the only degree where you have less women now than about 20 years ago. So this was a disaster, and it was a nightmare for me discovering that. So I thought we have to do something about it. And actually it really had to do with the perception on this digital world. It was perceived as being nerdy, perceived as being difficult, perceived for, the pizza eaters in the cave somewhere. And this was not the picture of the world actually we are living in. And digital becomes more and more important. If we see now to the COVID times, we survived thanks to the digital world as a society. So, and then I discovered Coder Dojo in Ireland, and they had one rule, and that's being cool. And I thought, this is kind of a thing I want to bring to the youngsters. And I'm very proud on what we achieved, because in 8 years, we have now over 150 clubs in Belgium. We reach about 18,000 children on a continuous basis. We have more than 2,000 volunteers working with us. And this actually is now giving the first results. I just spoke with actually one of the team members here, which son participated in Coder Dojo as a young age. He's doing computer sciences now. So this is really what is encouraging me. But also others, like we had 3 European ICT girls, which have been role modeling. And one of them is now 15 years. And last week she received recognition of the Minister of Education in France as a STEM role model. So these are things which start moving. And it's not enough, because we will have a shortage of digital skills forever. And of course, everything what you do nowadays is digital. So the 3 things I'm most proud of is the reach, actually the role modeling, and last but not least, we have some junior inventors now. So how cool can that be? 12 years. I would check on Twitter, hashtag #CoderMaugo, and you will find a great kid as an inventor.
Yeah. Fantastic. I mean, I would like to ask you, and actually even to Ruben, to your question that you answered, is it a misconception that is out there that working in the tech industry is something technical? I think you both touched upon it. There's not only technical roles to go into the tech industry. There's a misconception about what it means to go into that industry.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you maybe deal with that in Coder Dojo to work on that.
In every profession, you have actually digital skills nowadays. So we had last year young grads educated communication science. And one of them did a master digital communication. And all the other students were saying, how cool is that? And then I asked, didn't you have digital marketing? And they said, no. And I really think it's a shame that somebody's graduating nowadays in communication skills and they don't have digital marketing, SOE, SOR. So every profession has now a digital aspect, and it's not only in the tech world. Every aspect of society is confronted with digital. So for me, it's a basic skill for everybody, like, language or...
Yeah, I think that's great, and it's important that we get that message out there, and also that helps uncover these hidden talents so that people realize what their own talents are and what they can do with them. So I think it's great that you're pursuing on those efforts. Thank you.
Yeah, I've got a question for Rens, also there in the studio. Rens, before you founded Bolt, you started your career in consulting. What are the 3 drivers that make you think about starting an impactful and purpose-driven business?
I was a consultant before, so actually I saw what went well and what went wrong in the companies that I consulted. So it was already a driver to see, to do something which can go better, right? But secondly, I think it's even more important, people from my generation, but even people from a generation younger than me are really, let's say, purpose-driven, and they want to work for something they believe in, do the good thing, right? People around, let's say now 23, 20, you really see, if we hire people for a company as Bolt, it's pretty easy. And people are really looking to work for a company that has a purpose, a clear mission. And also if you want to attract talent, I think it's nowadays becoming more and more relevant to have that mission. really at the front of your company to really get that talent. So for me, the personal driver as well to start indeed was also doing the right thing. And also, yeah, let's be frank, come on guys, look at the climate, we have to act, right? So the best way to do that is just do it yourself. So that was the best motivation you can have. So those were actually really, if I would sum 3 things, those would be the things that really motivated me. But of course, there are a bit more. Also like the opportunity to really found a company, being pretty young still, and the experience that I get from doing this is amazing. And I hope actually I can have, with that experience further on, also do a bit more with that and have a bit more impact on, let's say, sustainability and so on. I have a pretty young sister, 18. If you look at her friends, and it's really, if you throw a glass bottle in the wrong bin, they will really publicly say, take it out. Imagine doing that when we were young. It's just a very good example on how actually a positive evolution, right? So I'm very glad to see that.
Yeah, I'm very proud of them as well,
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah.
All right,
Great.
Then I've got a question for Martina. You're in an executive position at Telenet, and you've achieved great things with Code Dojo, STEM, to close the skills gap. How has it helped you to be part of both worlds? And what are the 3 ways for business, non-profit, to better work together to drive change?
So I learned so much being active in Coder Dojo. It's non-profit, it's with volunteers. And in the beginning, when we were starting, I had overnight nightmares that parents would be in front of closed doors and that volunteers would not show up. And everything is the opposite in a non-profit world because it's about engagement. And the power of engagement is something we sometimes miss in corporate life. And with Coder Dojo, I discovered what the power of engagement is. People are always there. People are always wanting to reach more. And it's purpose-driven, and that's what we miss sometimes in corporate life. So we introduced now that purpose-driven, and I'm 100% with you when you explain how important this is for youngsters. I'm driving electrical because of my kids, and it's sometimes a challenge for me. So I sort now my ways. So collaboration and cooperation with non-profit organizations is so important. First of all, that you discover what it means, the engagement. Also for your employees to really do something for society, it becomes more and more important. And last but not least, I don't think we will survive as a society if we don't do more on the big social themes like poverty, health, education, etc. And a cooperation between corporate life and those non-profit organizations will be essential for all of us.
Yeah, thanks for this inspiring words.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, no, it's
on
really
with
true
you.
what you said. I mean, we can't leave it up, like we said at the beginning, we can't leave it up to the nonprofits, we can't leave it up to individuals. We need corporations to step in and help make this change. And that's why I think we're seeing this change in the last years, because we have corporations stepping in and working together. So good examples of that. I have now a question for Rens. And Ruben, we will get to you after that then.
I'm waiting.
Like a lot of businesses out there, you started your company around a core set of values, such as making an impact on sustainability. But like any business, you also have commercial goals. What are your 3 key pieces of advice to other businesses to juggle both aspects?
So first of all, I think it's important to state that profitability and sustainability can go hand in hand, obviously, right? I think it's even stronger if your mission is sustainable and you're making profit, meaning you can actually turn a profit into extra investments to actually have a bigger impact in sustainability, and even more show your competitors. You're taking market share of your competitors, showing them that actually sustainable is the right way to go and actually impact them as well, right? Talking about advice, personally, the advice would be to people that are in the same seat as I am to not be naive. What do I mean? People will not pay loads more for sustainable products. You really have to do it incremental, step by step. be aware that there are also products which are similar than yours and can be a bit less sustainable. So make sure that you also take into account their pricing, their setup, and make sure that the trade-off between a sustainable product and a not is not too big financially also for person. That's what actually we have seen as well. If there is no business case, maybe focus on awareness first, right? Okay, don't do the huge investment, but do it step by step. Sadly enough, sometimes it takes time. And we see really in Belgium, it also takes time and quite a bit of money to educate people on what is the right way to go. And I think that there we also have a mission to really show, like, to use our knowledge to show, look, in the energy sector, we think this is actually the right way to go and take people along that road, right? So it's really about patience and trying to find the things that already work and the things that don't work, build the awareness and go invest in them when the time is there, actually. So yeah, that's a bit the thing that I could say about it. It's a pretty hard question, though, because every industry is different and every sector. But yeah, for us, it was really like, be aware that don't do crazy stuff and think that people will just follow your product because you're sustainable. That doesn't work. You really have to have everything in place.
You say don't be naive. People are not going to pay much more for a product that is sustainable. But how do you do that? Because in my experience, what I see around me is that when a product is more sustainable, it's more expensive. It costs more to make it or to...
That's the perception, but it's not always the case, though. Like in energy, it's not that much more expensive, for example. But indeed, if you would take it a bit broader, indeed you would see you actually pay a little premium for sustainability, and that's okay, right? But you have to know your price sensitivity of your customers, right? At some point, you really have to also build that trust that your product might cost a little bit more, but it is the real right thing, right? And building trust also takes time, right? So if you have a strong brand, you can do it. But if you're like Bolt, a startup, which starts from nothing, and you don't have the trust yet, it will be hard, right? So it's a journey. So indeed, yeah, it's still business. It's about trust, right? Also that you need to build, and especially for startups, it takes time.
Yeah, and not giving up, like you said. So, you know, if this is something you believe in and it's purpose-driven, then keep going for it until you have reached those goals. Because if you give up, and, you know, we're never going to get to the point where businesses can make that impact. Yeah. Great. So we have a last question for you, Ruben. What are your 3 tips for others out there who want to start a business on how to build a platform for change?
Yeah, tough question as well. Because at the end of the day, you can emphasize on many aspects of that question. So when I emphasize on business, I want to take that aspect into my answer. So the first tip I have is really adopting the problem. You know, going around the problem. You should go deep. You should hold it, figure it out. So you go on micro level to understand the problem, the obstacle. So that's the first, let's say, aspect for everyone who is, you know, picking up on whatever change they want to make. Then secondly, when you figure it out, then it's all about create a vision and an ambition, and then attract talented people to that. Because at the end of the day, you can never do it yourselves. And when you want to build things at scale, you need those talented people that are passionate. And then figuring out with them a business model. You know, I think Rens was saying it as well. It's like you experiment to see how all the aspects of the business model works. And then thirdly, I think it's a bit the mindset in which you are operating as a person. And I would describe it as to serve. So for me, it's like I have, you know, TechRounds is one of the NGOs. Another NGO I started a year ago is Farmers to Neighbors. So it's a short chain to bring food to people with a small wallet. And we, you know, it's all about to serve the farmers. It's to serve the, you know, the people that as volunteer are working to make it work, to serve the people with a small wallet. And the same goes with TechRounds. So I think with that mindset, to serve society, to serve the business part, then you can build something not only that is impactful, but also that is scalable.
Yeah.
That would be my
Sounds
answer.
easy, but I'm sure it's not really.
It's 27, 7 days a week, and it's
Yeah.
but it's fun
Yeah.
and it's fulfilling. Fulfilling. Yeah.
But it sounds like from what all three of you were saying, it really has to come from your heart because you have to have patience, you have to give extra
Sure.
time, you have to believe in what you're doing. You can't just pick something because it's a trend or somebody else told you to pick it. It has to be something that you really have a heart for. So if we all want to pick something that we're going to put our extra time in to make a change, it should be something from our heart.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you.
Thanks a
Good.
lot. So what have you remembered?
I think that wraps it up. Yeah. So, gosh, I took a lot of notes, so I remembered a lot of things. But let me see if I can summarize it now into just 3 of my favorite takeaways. I really like the talk about the hidden talent, and that it's actually also about people recognizing their own hidden talent. So it's not just us going out there and looking for talent, but you have to recognize it yourself. So I think we could have more training and more help out there for people to recognize their own.
And I wrote down build trust and don't give up.
Yeah.
Because that's what has been said.
Yeah.
But it also it's also what you say. It's also for yourself. Build
Yeah.
trust and don't give up.
Trust
It's
in
not
yourself.
only for your company. It's also for trusting
Yeah.
yourself.
Yep. And we talked a lot about digital and digital skills and what Martina said, entering the world of tech. It's actually not the world of tech, it's the world of digital. And there are so many people with so many different skills required to be in digital. So there must be enough talent out there to be in the digital world if we are just able to define better what skills are needed for all of those roles. So it's opened up my mind to think about that one a little more. Thanks. Yeah. Okay. I think that wraps it
That's
up.
it.
Thank you. Thanks
Thanks
for all
a lot,
of your insights.
guys. I learned a lot.
Good.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much.